Hey there, YouTube. You know what time it is. If you saw the thumbnail, you saw the name of the video. We're almost at the top of the mountain here. This is a rough draft of what the deck might look like. A few more tweaks here and there for the final first draft of the D Series Nightmareland deck. This took a lot of effort from a lot of people, so I got a big thanks out for my friend Mike Z. Big thanks to a friend on Discord, Black Aichi. You are the goat for this, but those two guys have put in a lot of work to help me get this where it is now, to where it looks how it looks. And we're just gonna run through it really quickly. There will be a fight video for this deck later today, but keep in mind this deck is a what if deck. This deck and series of cards do not exist in D Series Vanguard. This is just a concept of what could happen if Bushiroad ever did decide to transfer this from G over to Divine set. But as a encounter deck, this is a updated new art for some of the cards, some brand new units, and a brand new way to play. So without further ado, this is Nightmareland standard format Divine. I hope you enjoy. So first we're going to start off with the ride line. We're playing one copy of Cheshire Cat of Nightmareland. This is your normal starter, but it is for the theme, and it has the Nightmareland name in the card name for obvious reasons. Our grade 1 of the ride line is one copy of Nightmareland Key Maiden Alice. Her ability is when she is placed, she searches the deck for one copy of Tales from the Underground. This is our grade 3 set order. The set order has the ability once you play it, you can act once per turn, energy blast 3 until the end of your opponent's next turn. All the units in your soul are regarded as Nightmareland units. So this allows you to use other cards as well to help the deck along. But as of right now, this deck is completely as much as possible Nightmareland. But because of this set order, you're able to run other things in dark states to help the deck out. Our grade 2 lineup, I'm just going to shift this over a bit. For our ride line is Jabberwocky of Nightmareland. This is kind of throwing me off a bit. Why is this so miscentered? Cool. So Jabberwocky's ability is when he attacks you, soul charge 1 and retire a rearguard. This is mandatory for you to get the full ability. He'll get whatever unit he retires, he'll get that unit's current power. And if that unit is a Nightmareland unit, excuse me, he gets +1 crit. So for example, if you retire Cheshire, you'll get +6k +1 crit because it is a Nightmareland unit. But if you retire something that's not Nightmareland, you'll just get the power and soul charge. So I figured this is a good way to get the deck some type of push in the early game. And last but not least, our boss unit, Queen of Nightmareland Hartrud. So her new ability is, when placed, you may call any card in your soul to rear guard. So basically it's going to be like Alice. The reason for that is that Alice has another rear guard ability. And so does Jabberwocky. So her rear guard ability is at the end of the battle, she boosted a Nightmareland unit. You may move her back to soul and draw one card. So hand advantage. Jabberwocky's skill is a fact. If he is retired by a unit with Nightmareland in his card name, he gives the Vanguard +1 crit. So that's the entire idea about this deck, is that using Hartrud's skill, which I'm about to get into, you can retire your rearguards and give the Vanguard different buffs. So, like I said, the ability of Hartrud, one second. Allergy season is a monster. I apologize for that. If you guys know me on this channel, my nose always constantly runs, so I apologize. But her other skill is when she attacks, you may counterblast 1 and retire one of your rear guards. And she'll get +1k for every card with Nightmareland card in the soul. But if the unit retired is a Nightmareland unit, she'll get +2k instead. So for example, if there are 10 cards in your soul and you retire Jabberwocky, you're getting a total of 20k power +1 crit. So that is the ride line. This is the set order that searches out from the ride line. So we're going to move these over. And then we're going to go right into the bread and butter of the deck. We're playing three. Oh, in addition to that, don't let me forget, she also has her defensive skill, but it's a bit different. So her defensive skill for Hartrud is that whenever she's attacked, you may energy blast any number of cards. Energy blast any number. And then for every card in your soul with Nightmareland and its card in, you times it by the number of energy you energy blast, and that's how much power she gets for the turn. For example, again, if there are 10 cards in a soul and you energy blast 3, you get 30k power for that battle. So I figured this would be a good way to allow you to maintain defensive capabilities in the deck, because of what's in the deck. You will not have that much of a hand nor defensive capability because of the way the deck has to be played. So I figure she can add her own ability to try to balance out the scales of how little you have to guard with. So for the main deck, we're playing 3 extra copies of Hartrud for Persona Ride purposes. We're playing 4 copies of White Queen of Nightmareland Cheslene. So I'm sorry for the glare. It's a white background. Let me see if I can get that more cleared. There. So kind of hard to see, but I apologize. So Cheslene has 3 abilities as the rear guard supporting Hartrud. Her first effect is when placed, you soul charge 1 card from the top of your deck for every card in your hand. So you have 5 cards in your hand, you soul charge 5 cards. And for every Nightmareland is soul charged by this skill, she'll get plus 5k. So for example, if you soul charge 5 units with Nightmareland, she gets plus 25k for the turn. Her other ability is that when she attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost Energy Blast 3 and retire a rear guard. So mind you, these two allow you to use buffs on your Vanguard twice. So for example, if Hartrud retires one and then she retires one, that's 2 buff skills going to Hartrud. And she'll gain plus 1 crit, and and your opponent cannot use grade 0s to guard her attack. So that way, she gets a little bit of power when she attacks. Sorry, she gets a little bit of power when she's placed, and then she becomes critical when attacking the Vanguard if you can pay the energy blast. Her last skill is that whenever a Nightmareland unit is retired from your board, it goes to the bottom of the deck instead of going to the drop zone. So that way you can recycle your units. So those are all of the grade 3s. So we're going to compress these. Going into the grade 2s, we played 3 extra copies of Jabberwocky of Nightmareland. We explained this, but I'll go over again briefly. His rearguard ability is when he's retired by a unit with Nightmareland's card name, he gives the Vanguard plus 1 crit. So again, your Vanguard's going to go critical if either she or Cheslene retires him. Next, we play 4 copies of Bandersnatch of Nightmareland. Bandersnatch has the skill when placed. You may call any card with any grade 2 or lower card from your soul to rearguard, and he'll get plus 4k. So again, things like Alice, targets for retiring, he'll get all of that out for you and give himself plus 4k for doing it. Then his ability is when he is retired by the skill of a Nightmareland unit, he gives the Vanguard the ability that when the Vanguard is attacking, you must guard with 2 or more. Your opponent must guard with 2 or more cards. So you have a crit and a guard restrict that can be buffed to the Vanguard. Our last grade 2 is we played 4 copies of Dumb of Nightmareland. Yes, this card art may look familiar, but that's because I couldn't find any other decent art to evolve them into. So unfortunately, it has to be the same art. So a little mad about that, but we did upgrade his skill. So his new skill is Act Counterblast 1. Put a card excuse me. Act Counterblast 1. Put a card from your hand into your soul. This unit gets plus 4k for every copy of him, for every copy of Dumb of Nightmareland and D of Nightmareland in your soul until end of turn. And this is a hard once per turn. Do keep in mind you cannot keep spamming his skill, so it's once per turn. That wasn't added onto the card skill. That is an error in our logistics, so we will update the skill later on when you see the next video. Excuse me. Do keep in mind this skill is a hard once per turn. Well, a soft once per turn. per card, so you can't spam it over and over again just for the one card. Okay, we're going to compress here. That's all of the grade 2s. Okay, we're going to go into the grade 1s. We're playing an additional 3 copies of Alice. So like I said before in the ride line, she has the ability at the end of the battle, she boosts a Nightmareland unit. She moves herself to the soul to draw a card, so just recycling card advantage. We're playing 3 copies of Little Red of Nightmareland. Her ability is, when placed, discard a card, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Nightmareland from among them to the hand, and shuffle your deck. Then her retire ability is that when she is retired, when this unit is retired, if there are 8 or more cards in your soul, you may countercharge 1, and then if there are 13 or more cards in soul, you may choose this unit and 1 normal unit from your drop zone, return them to the bottom of your deck. So she helps recycle your units as well. Again, because of the art reasons, we're playing 3 copies of new D of Nightmareland. So this card in particular gave us the most problems because of the original skill for this was a little too strong. So we figured that we just keep it as the original skill, but just get rid of the Generation Break 1 skill. So this card is technically the exact same skill, just without the GB. It made it fair. So as before, Axe skill, put this card into your soul, choose one of your cards with Nightmareland and give it plus 1k for every card with, choose one of your rear guards, sorry, no, not rear guards. It's my own card and I'm having problems reading it. Reading is fundamental, people. Axe skill, put this card into your soul from rear guard. Choose one of your units and it gets 1k for each card with Nightmareland card in its card name until the end of turn. And if the chosen unit is dump of Nightmareland, draw 1 card. So basically the same skill. In addition to that, we're also playing 4 PG, well 3 additional PG. 1 Elementaria, of course, those are the PGs. So those are all of the grade 1s. Now we're going to go into the grade 0s of the deck. Yes, this deck does have grade 0s. We are playing 2 copies of Mad Hatter of Nightmareland. Grade 0, 5k shield. Has the ability is constant if your Vanguard is a grade 3 with Nightmareland in its card name and your soul has 10 or more cards, this unit gets 10k shield. So I gave the deck a little bit more defensive capability, so you have another 15k shield in the deck. Triggers, now this is the reason why Hartrud has her defensive ability, because of the way you have to play the deck until we decide to add more cards to the archetype. As you notice, there's only 2 cards in the deck that actually draw you cards, which are Alice and D, but they're under specific. One is under a specific threshold it has to meet, and the other one is you have to get it out, which you only technically have 2 cards to get it out, which is Bandersnatch and if you ride Hartrud. So in my testing, I found out that you're lacking hand advantage, so I figured the only way to supplement that for right now is the way you run your triggers. So we are running 1 Dark States over trigger. We are running 3 crits just in case. But I do believe, in my opinion, this is the first time ever that we're running 8 draw triggers in a deck, just to supplement the hand advantage. Now you may be wondering, well, you won't have that much defensive. That's why Hartrud's ability is so key to the deck, because you can guard with a draw trigger for 5k. You can use her skill multiplied by how much energy you use to supplement the rest of the guard shield. And we are playing 4 heal trigger as well. So that is the entirety of this deck. Look forward to later today or tomorrow for a fight video of this deck against my good friend Mike Z. And we'll see how this deck does. We'll see where it falls short, what can be improved for the next time we technically give it an update with a new set of cards. So I hope you liked. I hope you figured that this deck was something. To me, All right. Ooh. To me, this deck has always held a special place in my heart. This was the deck that my wife chose when she first started playing Vanguard back in G era before things got crazy. So I've always had a special place. As you can see, this has always been the mat and the image in all of my videos. So this archetype has always held a special place for me. I honestly wish Bushiroad did more with it, but beggars can't be choosers. So we take what we can. But I decided to take the liberty upon myself in trying to do something with the archetype and all of the wonderful art and abilities and concept this deck has to offer. So, and for those who know back in G, most of DI's triggers were Nightmareland units. So we have a plethora of units we can upgrade their grades, their abilities, and give them brand new abilities to add to this archetype to make it even grander. So look forward to more videos with this because this is just the beginning of the story. So this has been Mr. Budget saying, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you look forward to more what if decks. I have many friends in my roster who all have wonderful ideas and concepts in their head for this beautiful card game that we all love, and who knows what crazy madness that they're cooking up. So I know I've been rambling, but I'm really excited about this. So once again I would say, as always, this has been Mr. Budget. We're saying keep it fun, keep it budget, keep it real, and we will see you guys here next time. Peace.